tried to tell her, you can't live in both worlds. You have to choose one. You can't have everything. But of course, she thought she could. That's who Claire was, the girl who could have it all.
This passing business is a dangerous one. I wanted her not to see that girl anymore. But then I met her, and she was so beautiful. She had this personality that made you believe that she could do anything she wanted. It could be anyone she wanted. And she was beautiful, so that helped.
I never suspected, never thought that she could possibly be one of them. She fit into my world so well, and she had one of those aunts, one of those Snow White aunts.
Oh, she didn't fall. No, that girl was pushed. You mark my words. No one just falls out of a window. My money is on Irene, the friend, if you can even call her that. Seems to hate Claire still, even now, even after.
I don't even know why we're still investigating this. Racist husband finds out his wife is black after years of pretending not to be. Open and shut. Her husband John did it.
Some people might tell you that mine is a story about a girl who wanted to have it all. A girl who wanted to exist in both worlds and be loved and adored by all, black and white. Some people will tell you that you can live in both worlds, but not really. Now you have to choose one or the other, black or white. I suppose they are right. I did want it all, but this story isn't about what I wanted or what I had. No, this is a story of how I tried to have it all and how I died.
So, what do we know?
Not much. They were having a little get-together, nothing special, when the husband burst in, causing trouble.
And who is he?
His name's John Ballou. He's the victim's husband.
Interesting. Now, why would John go and ruin all the fun?
Well, he wasn't invited.
What?
Well, him bursting into the room is only where things start to get interesting.
Naturally.
Peculiar may be a better word. They said, and I talked to several guests, that he bursts in yelling obscenities.
Obscenities? Okay, what kind of obscenities?
Wow.
Ah, I see. The guy's a racist. What's so peculiar about that?
Well, they were directed at his wife.
Well, I'll be damned. How does a racist marry a white or a black woman? Some sort of dominance thing? I wonder if he has a history of a domestic abuse.
No, I don't think that's it. The party guests were under the impression that he didn't know. Like, he never knew.
Peculiar was a good word for it, so... Is that all we know? Is Ballou our only suspect?
Well, not necessarily. I heard the same name from a few people. Irene Redfield. She was a close friend to Claire and was closest to Claire, when she jumped.
Or was pushed? Alright, Ballou is certainly not off the hook, but I'd like to have a word with her as well. She didn't flee the scene, did she?
No. The guests upstairs said that she was pretty shook up, and she's still upstairs.
Yeah, well... You go talk to Ballou and I'll handle her.
Okay.
Irene, my God, are you all right?
Is she alright?
You shut the hell up. You're the reason your outburst a second ago was the reason Claire was down there.
This is all my fault. This is all my fault.
Irene, what are you talking about? How could you have known that maniac would?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm from the police force, and we just wanted to take a little bit to talk to you guys.
Just take a deep breath, honey. Just relax and tell him the truth.
You must have had a really hard night. I'm really sorry. I understand that you and Claire were very close.
Not that close. She was about 4 feet away from me when she... And anyway, I can't remember anything leading up to it. I sort of blacked out. It's all just a blur.
I'm sorry, that came off wrong. This must be very hard for you. I understand that she was a good friend of yours. I just wanted to ask you some questions while you're still here.
Yes, an absolute marvelous friend she was.
How long have you known Claire?
We've known each other since we were children.
And did you two remain as close now as you were then?
Well, no, not exactly. There were large passes of time that we weren't really speaking. We tried, well, she tried to connect a few years ago.
So she was the one that wanted to see you. Was the feeling not mutual?
Claire always knew what she wanted. I was never the end, just the means. I was tired of feeling used by someone who I once considered a friend.
I'm very sorry to hear that. I know that tonight has been hard for you. I just have one more question for you. I have a hunch that Mr. Ballou had something to do with this. Is there anything you can tell me about him that would shed some light on his character?
Well, the first time we met wasn't the most pleasant experience I've ever had. You see, Claire was unhappy with the way things went the last time we had run into each other. She decided that we should try to catch up again. Every part of me wanted to tell her no. But of course, Claire always got what she wanted. You see, the real reason that she dragged me out that day was so that she could introduce me to that man, that awful man.
Hey, Nig. Who is this?
That awful man, he didn't even know. She never told him. But still, he called her. He was an awful man.
She lied to me. She lied to me. How could I have married a...
Sir, I need you to calm down. I need to know what happened here tonight.
What happened here is that my wife lied to me, and I caught her. Yeah, that's all that happened.
And what lie was that, sir?
What lie? That she was a... And she thought that she could get away with it, but I guess she didn't.
So you didn't know? You didn't know that she was a Negro?
No, of course I didn't know. I wouldn't have married her had I known. I followed her here, and then I found out the truth, and this is what happened.
You say this is what happened, but can you tell me what happened just before Mrs. Ballou fell out of the window?
Found out who she was, who Claire really was. I went to confront her with the truth, but she was talking to that woman who started all of this, who brought Claire into this world. If it wasn't for her, she was visiting with that woman, that's when all this trouble began. And that's who was there with her. That woman, Reen, I think her name is. She seemed angry, but not Claire, no. Claire was never angry. I walked into the room and startled them. I confronted her, told her that I knew what she really was. She pressed her head against the window. She seemed defeated, but relieved. Like she had been carrying the secret a very long time and was just glad that she didn't have to do it anymore. Anyway, when I saw her like that, I almost felt sorry for her. I closed my eyes, and when I opened them, she was gone. She's just gone.
Irene was pretty mad at Claire. She didn't even want to be friends. She felt like Claire forced her into a friendship, and she resented the poor girl for that. There's a lot of anger there, and anger can make a person do crazy things. Plus, I think Irene suspects that her husband was having an affair with Claire. Pile up jealousy with anger, and you get deadly results. I know it was Irene who pushed her. I just have to find the proof.
John Ballou was so angry at his wife. Well, you can't hardly blame him for that. She'd been lying to him for years. But when an angry racist discovers that he has been married to a Negro, has fathered a child who is half Negro, of course he flew off the handle. A man like that doesn't even want to speak with a person of color, let alone climb into bed with one. Of course he killed her. I just have to find the proof.
Answer the question. Were you having an affair with Claire Bello?
What? What?
Did your wife believe that you were having an affair with Claire?
I don't know, ask her.
Oh, I intend to. Was your husband having an affair?
I believe so.
You believe so, but you don't know. But you suspect he was. With who?
With Claire.
You know, I danced with her once, Claire, at a function my wife had organized. She was the most beautiful woman in the room. And when we danced, it seemed like everybody was looking at us. But they weren't looking at me. They were looking at Claire. Everyone was looking at Claire.
Claire was the most beautiful person in the room. Not your wife.
When did you begin to suspect that your wife was lying to you?
She started disappearing with that woman. I thought maybe that she was having an affair, but I never expected this.
You thought she was having an affair with Irene?
No, of course not. I thought she was using Irene to cover her tracks.
So you must have been pretty angry when you discovered the truth.
Yeah, I would say I was pretty angry to find out that she was lying to me the entire time that we've been married. To find out that I was married to a... Well, anyway.
I don't even know why you're questioning me. You should be questioning her husband. He's the one who was so upset that night.
I'm talking to you now. Isn't it true that you didn't want Claire in your life?
Well, yeah, but I didn't want her dead. I mean, you can't straddle both sides. It's dangerous. You can't pass and not pass.
But don't you pass also?
The two of you had a child together, is that correct?
Yes.
And where is that child now?
She's up with some friends up north. Why does it matter?
Well, the child is half Negro, so what's going to happen to her?
Suspect that we'll find a place for her.
Like you found a place for Claire? I just want to know the truth. Did you push Claire out of the window?
I don't know what happened in those final moments of Claire's life. Whether she was pushed or fell, the fact remains that she's gone now, and nothing can bring her back. Such a waste. Such a shame. She was a beautiful woman. I will remember her dearly and miss her fondly.
If only I could prove that Irene pushed her. She was obviously jealous of Claire. She believed that Claire was having an affair with her husband. But it was more than that. She envied Claire. She envied the life that Claire had. I think she even envied that Claire was able to pass more easily than she was. Claire was able to live in both worlds and was loved in both. Irene seemed to float through each world like a ghost. She can make her way through either, but she doesn't feel as if she really belongs. Claire was able to belong, and Irene envied that. My partner still believes it was the husband. She forgets that just because a person is repulsive doesn't mean they're a murderer. It's easier to hate John Bello and his racist beliefs, but just because a person is easy to hate doesn't mean they are guilty.
I wish I could prove that John pushed Claire. It seems so obvious. He was such an angry man even before this. Not to Claire, of course, who he believed was his Snow White wife, but to black people who he knew were black, the man couldn't stand them. A man like that, who finds out that the woman who has been sharing his bed is one of them. A man like that who discovers that he's fathered a child who is one of them because of his wife's lies. A man like that doesn't think rationally when confronted with the truth. Of course he pushed her. I wish I could prove it, if only for the daughter's sake. God only knows what that man is going to do to that poor little girl. My partner is so convinced it is Irene, but she forgets that jealousy doesn't equal murder. Plenty of people are jealous of their friends, and they don't go around killing them.
I warned her. I told her that she couldn't live in both worlds. But Claire just wouldn't listen. You know her. And look where it's got her. She's dead. And for what? Just because she could have a little fun? So she could feel as if she belonged with the people that she turned her back on all those years? No. When a person decides to pass, they need to stick with it. There is no coming back from that. Well, I guess for Claire there was. And now she's in her final home.
I just don't know why she did it. Why she had to lie to me. Why she had to be black. She was so perfect. Of course she had to have a fault, but why did it have to be that? I'd almost rather that she was having an affair, but no. Had to be this. This of all things. Had to be the worst secret she could have possibly had. Now she's dead because of it. Why couldn't she just have stayed with her own?
This is the story of my passing. Maybe I was a little too headstrong, and I believed that I could have it all. I lost my life because of it. They say that you can't live in both worlds, and my story proves that. But I wouldn't stop myself from trying. I couldn't live in both worlds because neither of my worlds would accept each other. On one hand, I was seen as betrayer of my people. On the other, I was a liar. Truthfully, I was part of both worlds. And white and black, why couldn't I exist in both? My story doesn't end well, but I still have hope. The hope that one day these worlds will coexist and women like me can just be themselves, without feeling like a liar or traitor. Maybe one day.